Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 98. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source to broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Patriot Patch. Check out patriotpatch.co to check out some of these awesome PVC patches that myself and Jacob Challand are producing. We added quite a few new ones. We've got, of course, Bullet Bill from Super Mario. And then we added the Hello, My Name Is name tag patch that you can actually write on with a permanent marker and get yourself in trouble or just be a little sarcastic. And then we added some In God We Trust smaller patches. So these would fit on like the back of your hat if you had like a blood type patch area. You know, it's about like 1 inch tall by about 3 1/4 wide. So you can get that in black, green, or kind of a coyote desert tan color. So those are all available on patriotpatch.co for pre-order. Check out yours today. So I got TJ in the house, and everyone else had things that they had to tend to today. So we're going to rock it. The dynamic duo. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Had a fairly busy day in guns, but I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about what you got going on first.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done too much this past week, but I did have bought a holster that I was pretty interested in. The Crossbreed makes their own version of a belly band, which is basically a big elastic band with a humongous Velcro field on it, and then you put their what they call their purse defender, which have just kind of like a Kydex shell with the Velcro backer onto it, and it's like a customizable, better retention belly band. So I was been kind of wearing that around, and then Sunday I actually went on the Handgun Radio podcast and talked about that belly band and other similar different carry options, I guess you could say, unique specialized carry options such as that and ankle carry and some of the other ones. So go listen to Handgun Radio this week and you'll hear me on there. Since I've been slacking on this show, I had to make up for it. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead and say something.
Check, testing.
Weird. Yeah, it's not picking up any of your audio, so we're going to have to start over.
Huh. Okay.
That's okay. You say something?
Testing, check.
Yeah, not getting you still. Let me see here.
Weird.
It's definitely on my end. I'll sort it out.
Because you can hear me, huh?
Yeah. So you can keep talking to keep our YouTube listeners entertained.
Oh yeah, I forgot we're still live.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to see a very interesting Glock modification, head over to Practically Tactical's Facebook page, and you can see the kitchen tablist of kitchen table gunsmith operations, where the guy decided to cut some holes into the side of his Glock 45 and drill some holes into the barrel, if you can see that. And also a fancy little stippled the rear sight, which is interesting. So I think sometimes people get in over their heads with their stippling and don't quite know what they're doing, but it's interesting to see what people come up with. He stippled everywhere but the main grip area of the gun. But yeah, I don't have too much else going on.
Okay, I think I got it now. Go ahead and say something.
All right, cool. Testing, check, test.
Beautiful. Should have done that from the beginning like I usually do. All right, so we're going to go ahead
from the top.
Yeah, we're going to start from the top.
All right.
Cool, here we go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 98. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Patriot Patch Go. Head on over to patriotpatch.co to check out all the latest PVC patches that myself and Jacob Challen are producing. We added a couple new ones in the last couple of weeks. We've got, of course, Bullet Bill from Super Mario. We also added the Hello, My Name Is name tag patch, where you can take a felt marker and write your name or your code name, your nickname, your safe word, anything you want to get yourself in trouble. So that should be popular with the guys currently serving or on leave. We also got something a little bit cleaner for the family folks. We got the In God We Trust patch. So this is a much smaller patch, about an inch tall by 3 3/4 wide. And this will go on like the back of your hats if you've got like a blood type patch area on the back of your hat, or just to supplement your other patches on your other gear. So that's going to be available in 3 color schemes: black, green, and kind of a tan brown color. So check that out at www.patriotpatch.co and pre-order your patches today. So this week I got with me in the house TJ. Everyone else kind of bailed. They had other things going on today, but I got good old reliable TJ. We're going to do this podcast up dynamic duo style.
Yep, you can call me reliable, and I don't think I've been here in 3 weeks.
I know, it's a little bit oxymoron, but I can always count on you to come through.
Yep.
So what have you been doing in guns this week?
I haven't been doing too much super special in guns, but I did buy a crossbreed belly band holster that I'm currently trying out, and it seems to be a pretty good option for carrying without, I guess, standard pants with like good sturdy belt buckles. Kind of like exercise type pants is a pretty good option for that, and it's basically a big elastic band with a Velcro field that you put a Velcro backed Kydex holster on, and you can kind of customize it to however you want. And so I'm liking it so far, and that's really all I've been doing, and kind of trying to specking out a new AR-15 that I'm planning on building. Hopefully can build in the near future. And then this last Sunday I was on Ryan Machad's Handgun Radio show, and we talked about the belly band and other non-traditional styles of carry, such as ankle carry and some of the other odder ones you see. So head on over there and give that a listen if you just can't get enough of hearing me talk.
How is Ryan doing?
Ryan seems to be doing pretty good.
Right on. So anyway, this week, actually today, mostly, I was planning on taking my AR pistol to Rainier Arms to have them SBR it for me. They seem to have some kind of NFA witchcraft that they can do to surpass this restriction Washington has that, private citizens can't be a manufacturer of an SBR, but apparently they can transfer it to them and then make it an SBR, and I come back when the tax stamp comes and they transfer it back to me. So I was going to do that, but I got sidetracked and I stopped by a gun shop that is a little bit closer that I haven't really hit very much, but I do remember that they carried suppressors. So I come in there, I'm looking at their suppressors. They've got a lot of AAC stuff and some Silencer Co. cans. I was looking at the Tyrant 45, and then I was looking at the Osprey 9. And then I noticed he had one for a 9mm. It's AAC. They call it the Eco 9. And this was before like the Tyrant 9 came out, and I think before the Evo 9 or the Evolution. So basically this was like a budget 9mm can that they were making. Really low price point, and it was less of a multi-weapon can and more of a standalone, like stays on a 1 or 2 guns. It still uses their piston system as the Tyrant system cans use. But anyway, they had a cash price of $450 on it, and so I was like, should I get a 45 can for $900 or spend half as much and just get a decent 9mm can? I mean, the reviews are great, and I don't plan on putting it on every single 9mm weapon I own. I plan on keeping it on like one pistol or one rifle. So I ended up getting the paperwork for that going. So he told me the wait time currently is about 4 to 5 months, and that's actually pretty good. I mean, it's sad when I'm waiting for something that I should have the right to, but so it should be probably about like January that the tax stamp comes back for that. So excited. Other than that, I'm doing a review today on the Magpul Zhukov folding stock on the AK, and I just installed the Zhukov handguard on there today too. This was an AKM, so it did have a handguard retaining cap that I did have to Dremel off, sadly. But so I'll tell you guys about that in the review. So I'm gonna do the stock today, and maybe next week I'll review that handguard.
Yeah, it seems like you got an awesome deal with that silencer, $450 for a 9mm cans. Really,
it's
really good.
It's discontinued, and I think they came out with different cans that were a little bit lighter. It is about 2.5 ounces heavier than most of their new 9mm cans, and maybe like an inch longer. But seeing as I was going to put it on an AR and have a rifle length handguard, and so it's going to have some nice overlap. It's going to look real sexy. So I didn't really mind that it was longer. The decibel reduction is really good on it, so I look forward to definitely trying it out. So now I've got 5 months to save up as much 147 grain subsonic 9mm as I can.
There you go.
So,
and buy your handguard, huh?
Yeah, figure out which handguard I want. So many options.
That's kind of one of the, I guess, perks of having to wait. Is it seems like a lot of people they'll have a gun with a threaded barrel because they're saving up to buy their silencer, but I see it as you should do the opposite way around. You fill in all the paperwork, and then you have 5 to 8 to 12 months to save up and then buy the barrel, so the process has already started. So you're kind of doing the same thing. You get the process started, and then get the rest of your build stuff in order, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then going through the process of SBRing it, they're probably going to have to hold on to my lower for however long it takes that to be processed, maybe like 2 months, 3 months. So yeah, it'll all work out.
That's your G9. That's your SBRing, right?
Yeah, that's my Lone Wolf G9.
Cool.
Other than that, we're going to go ahead and plug these Facebook charities that Chad and Rob, also known as NC Gun Geek, have brought on the show. Even though they're not here, we're going to continue holding the flag up for them because these are some pretty good causes. So we got the Man of Steel charity fundraiser multi-gun challenge, and this is in Oregon. It's going on next week, so September 12th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's located at the Oregon School of Gunfighting in Tangent, Oregon. So there was a instructor that was injured in a tannerite accident. And so basically this is a fundraiser event to kind of help raise some funds to help pay for his hospital bills. So from what Chad's told us, he's a really good guy. He's meant a lot to the shooting community there. And so they're setting up this awesome event where everyone gets to come out and, shoot at Steel. I know for a fact that he got some cool prizes donated, especially from X Products. So he's probably not going to be happy that I'm breaking the news on that and not waiting for him next week. But I'm sure, but next week this will be over. So he'll be glad that I'm telling you guys this now. So I know he's got the can cannon from X Products where you can basically put it at the upper on your AR and shoot soda cans using blanks, which is an awesome product. And then X Products also donated a skeletonized drum. So sweet prizes. If you're in the Oregon area, I really encourage you to check that out. There's going to be a Kill House, which is a one combat challenge course. There's a $10 range fee and a $20 match fee. There's going to be food, water, drinks. Should be an awesome time. The Facebook group for that is Man of Steel Charity Fundraiser Multi-Gun Challenge. I've got the link in the show notes. So if you're interested, last minute, you want to catch that, head on over to the link in the show notes, and you'll be able to join that event.
Yeah.
Next up, we got one from Rob. This is Woody's Charity Subgun and Suppressor Shoot. Sorry. This is taking place in North Carolina in the New Hill area. So this is Saturday, August 29th. Oh, wait, that was last Saturday, wasn't it? Never mind then. So that's done and over with. So I guess we can go ahead and also, even though Tony's not here, always want to mention, check out the Second is for Everyone diversity shoots that he puts on in Jersey. Tony's doing an awesome job at getting multi-ethnicities together. You know, all lives matter, and he's teaching, training people how to shoot, getting them into guns, and kind of getting more people that are inexperienced to guns onto our side, because they actually get to experience them. So go on and check that out, and make sure you email Tony at simonsays.training.com, and he'll be able to answer any questions you have. One last note, if you're interested in getting any kind of Kydex holsters, I've got a promo code for Bravo Concealment, which will get 10% off your next order, because we did that review of the RTT holster systems. So the promo code is RTT Combo 10, and that gets 10% off your next order at Bravo Concealment. All right, so there's the announcements. Now we can head straight into the product spotlight. So we did 3-gun for the last 3 episodes. Now we're getting back into a kind of more smorgasbord of some other products out there that might generally interest most of you. So the first one is from Tactical Walls. They're the company that make those awesome bookshelves that kind of have a concealed compartment that can stow handguns, shotguns, small carbines. They also do the mirrors, where you embed the mirror in between the stud in your wall, and it's basically a full-length mirror that slides, from one to one side and reveals kind of like a mini safe. Some cool stuff. Well, I just noticed that they released a much smaller, much more affordable item that might be of interest to some people. So this is the issue box, not tissue box, even though it is a tissue box. They've subtracted the T, because basically this box allows you to handle any issue that requires force. So kind of a little bit of a funny name, but basically it's a really nice looking tissue box. So you take your regular box of Kleenex and put it inside the cover, and obviously the tissue comes out the lid. But underneath actually is a concealed handgun and room for a magazine, which is done by basically having a nice piece of 2-ply. Hold on, it's foam that you basically would cut out to fit your magazine in your gun. So it's a customizable foam pad.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little false bottom where you lift the top of the tissue box and you have a gun nestled in some foam down there.
Yep. So if the dimensions of that are 9 inches by 4 3/4 inches, and it's got a depth of 1.5 inches. So it should fit most handguns. You're probably not going to get your Desert Eagle in there, especially with a spare magazine. But for most people that would like the idea of having a gun at the house that's not out in the open, but just in case someone breaks in, or if you're leaving and you want your significant other to have some sort of protection on hand, this is a nice way to stow a handgun and a magazine in a readily accessible spot. If no one's home, someone breaks in, no one's gonna steal or investigate the box of tissue sitting on the coffee table. So it's kind of a nice concealment to it.
Yeah, the size of it, they show it a Glock 19 with a spare magazine in there, and it looks like the Glock 19 is just the right size for it. So I'm not sure you'd be able to fit larger, like a 17 or anything larger than that in there without some fancy finagling of the foam. But most people have some kind of smaller handgun they could put in there anyways. Now, I
So
know
you think like a 1911 will fit in there?
it could be, it could, but I'll possibly fit, but I'm not entirely sure. That it doesn't look quite big enough, but it might. It, maybe if you remove the foam and cut around it rather than having a border of foam all the way around the gun, it might work. I guess a good thing with the foam though is if you pick it up, move it, you slide it across the table or something to give somebody a nap tissue. You don't have to. You don't worry about it jostling around and hearing it. So it's good that it's got that foam in there instead of it just sitting there.
Yeah.
Now, unlike some of their other offerings, this one does not lock. I know their other ones have that kind of magnetic lock, I think. Some kind of magnetic locking system. So, not entirely sure how those work, but this one doesn't lock. I think it just sits on top of the little hidden compartment. So, I guess their point is to make sure you check with your state and local jurisdictions where firearm storage laws apply, and considerations to whom may have access to the room the tissue box is in. So you don't want to have it and one of the kids knock it off the table and there's a gun laying on the floor now. So it's a pretty interesting idea. Like you said, to have something always at hand and very discreet where nobody's going to worry about, somebody breaks in and probably not checking the tissue box.
Right.
And it
Yeah,
looks good.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like wall clocks or I guess you'd call them like table clocks where they look kind of antique and they're sitting on a table.
Right.
But those are kind of, I guess, harder to get to. I mean, you got to like knock the clock over and pull the backing out. This is the video is actually pretty comical, but retrieving the firearm is really easy. I mean, like you just lift the top up and then you can get it. You're not having to fidget around for anything.
You just kind of reach in through the top hole that the tissue comes from, and that's kind of like your handle to lift it. You just reach in and pull it up, and you have access. So it's pretty. I don't see color options. It'd be nice if they had some different stain options, because it's like a dark, like a black stain on wood. So it'd be kind of neat if they had some different, like a cherry or mahogany or something like that kind of wood options rather than just this black. So, but I guess you could always sand it and restain it if you're into that.
Yeah, I thought I read that it was a synthetic material. Yeah, it's made out of ABS plastic, but it's got a black wood grain.
Okay, well, never mind. I guess forget what I just said.
The base is just ABS plastic.
Okay.
So you could paint it if you wanted to, or get creative with it.
Stain it.
Paint pretty flowers on there and kind of give it some more concealment.
There you
go. So then the next product we're going to talk about today is another pistol caliber AR. I know I've got like an addiction to talking about these things. This one's kind of new. It's from Quarter Circle 10. It's a side charging upper, basically. And it mates with their Glock magazine fed lower. It makes for a pretty cool looking firearm. Obviously, the side charging is the unique feature on there that you're not going to get with some of these other Glock compatible pistol caliber ARs. So right now it's to be determined what the MSRP is. It's not quite in stock. They talked about this, I think, either guns.com or the firearm blog might have done a little bit of coverage on this. So it's not quite, it's coming out of the vaporware stage and should be on their website soon. So I'll just read you the description. It says, our upper is a non-reciprocating charging handle, allows for the operator to maintain in the firing position while charging the firearm, a lot like a M&P5 or some other kind of HK style firearm. You can easily pull the charging handle to the rear and activate the bolt catch with one hand using one motion. The upper is designed around mil-spec standard and will accept any of their blowback bolt assemblies. This upper has an enlarged ejection port and will fire pistol calibers from 9mm to 45 ACP. Our upper has a trap door in the rear to keep dirt out of the upper and allow easy removal of the bolt from the receiver. So that's kind of cool if you want something that takes 45 ACP, and I'm assuming it uses Glock 45 double stack magazines.
Yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom, they show related products. Glock large frame lower, which would be your 45 and 10mm. So yeah, this is really awesome. I know we covered the lower a few months ago, or at least sometime earlier this year, and it's kind of making. I think it made waves being relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other ones, because a lot of these, especially the ones that take Glock mags, because I guess they take a lot more R&D to get right. A lot of times they're fairly expensive, and I know that these lowers are only $233 compared to some of the other ones. So I imagine this upper is probably going to be pretty fairly priced. If it's anywhere near that, 233 price, point, maybe somewhere around the $300 to $400 tops. That would be really awesome, to have a $600-700 pistol caliber carbine that takes Glock mags and that side charging. That's an awesome feature, I think. I know a lot of people are starting to kind of realize its utility, because I'm not sure if it's ambi or reversible. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that. It's a very good question, though.
Yeah. It doesn't look like they have that information on here, which would be very interesting to see if it is either ambi or reversible. But even if it's not, it's on the left-hand side, and it's right at the top of the upper, so it's not like kind of in the way if you need to reach over, but it's right at the top of the left-hand side. So if you're running it with you reload with your left hand, and you rack the bolt with your left hand as well, rather than having to reach over or do something awkward like you might have to do with like an AK or something like that. So it's pretty interesting. I'm wondering, the little bit of information I have on here, I'm wondering if they're going to do the full built uppers, or if this is just the basically stripped upper and you add your own barrel and handguard to it. It's just very, very limited information at this point. So I'm hoping for something cool coming out of it, though.
Yeah. And that barrel on there looks pretty short. I mean, it's definitely less than 9 inches.
Yeah, the setup they have right now, just for their little demo picks, is pretty slick. It's like a Magpul MOE type stock with the Magpul grip, and it's all the flat dark earth type color, anodized aluminum, and then they have a short little key mod handguard. That's, like you said, that barrel's got to be it's probably 6-7 inches, if that. So it's very compact little package, and obviously that would be SBR if you don't have a pistol brace or something like that. Yeah. So it looks like they do offer 9mm barrels in the 3.5, 5.5, 7.5, 10.5, 14.5, and 16-inch lengths. So it's one of those. I would assume, probably from looking at it, this is probably the 7.5-inch length, maybe even the 5.5.
Yeah, it looks closer to 5 to me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, but you'll be able to buy all these separately and basically assemble whatever you want. So if you want a nice short barrel 45, or if you want a long barrel 10mm, I know a lot of people want pistol caliber carbines and 10mm, especially with a little bit longer barrel, to really get some extra velocity out of that without shortchanging.
Right, I know, especially for like hunters and stuff like that. You have this 10mm. You could have a tiny compact. You could even build it up as a pistol with something maybe like a 10 or 12-inch barrel, and use one of the either stabilizing braces or the Thordston kind of cheek rest, I forget what they call it, but one of those, and you could pistol hunt with a 10mm that's got a fair bit of oomph behind it, being a longer barrel like that. So it's a ton of possibilities with that. Or even 45 and 357 SIG. I bet both of those would make fair hunting cartridges out of a longer barrel.
Yep, Or if you want to have this suppressed 45 ACP, man, it's always subsonic.
Yep, you could whack the mess out of some hogs with something like this too.
Oh yeah. So check that out at quarter circle 10, and that's actually the digits 10.com. Got the link in the show notes.
We need to try to remember to update if we find out what the MSRP is going to be on these.
Right. So next up, we got something from Magpul that I actually had no idea existed. I was just kind of flipping around through Brownell's website under their new products, and I noticed these quick reference cards with Magpul's logo on it. So of course I was curious, like, man, what are those? How come there was no huge like media blast about these coming out? So basically, Magpul, with their dynamics training program and all the different disciplines, they've got some long range videos, DVDs out there. They actually came out with a very cool, comprehensive overview of the fundamentals of marksmanship, along with some quick reference range estimation sheets that you can fill out and have specifically for reference for your firearm and your rifle, your caliber. So it's using the same density altitude system. It's rugged, all-weather, erasable material. So if you enter your data for 308, then you get rid of it, and you get like a 338 edge or something like that. You can just erase that and write your new information on there. So intended for use as a medium to transfer data for a given rifle from the precision rifle data book to these cards for use in the field. So Magpul's actually got another reference product, and it's actually more of a little book. So I guess this would be almost like the book would be like your master data book, and then you've got these quick reference cards to take out with you to the range. Or to the match or wherever you're going. So the data book is $45, and it's got lots of color-coded charts to record your rifle's data across a wide spectrum of shooting conditions. It's got cold bore shot tracking, known distance data confirmation pages, field exponent density altitude calculator. I gotta slow down on these big words there, Ryan. Let's see. It can be written on using map pens, pencils, and non-permanent markers, and it's still erasable. There's a ring that can be used to hold these all together, but apparently that's not included, so that's kind of weird. So yeah, if you haven't made something, yourself on just like a 3x5 note card, your own little flash card for your rifle, and you're looking for something that's like a little bit more professional and makes it easier for you, or if this is like a gift to somebody who's into rifles, this might be cool. Even just the quick reference rifle cards, I think you'd be able to get away with. If you have everything figured out, you already have a logbook, and you want something that's a little bit more rugged that you can leave in your gear bag or your range bag. It's only $19.95 is the MSRP. Brownells has them for $18.99, so save you $1 there. So if you're into long range shooting, you might want to give this a try.
Yeah, I haven't gone into long range shooting, and I don't have much to say on this except for really, Magpul, throw that ring in there. You need some way to hold them together. I guess you could put any kind of a binder ring or something like that through it, but it'd be nice if it was included.
Yep. So you can erase the material with alcohol, is what Brownells has here in the description. So obviously you don't have some Jack Daniels with you when you go to the range, but when you get home, I'm just assuming like rubbing alcohol or something like that.
Or Everclear, whatever works.
Yeah, or Everclear, It's got a mill-based range estimation calculator, marksmanship fundamentals overview, and shooter/observer checklists. It's got a KD data sheet from -5,000 to 16,700 feet. I think that's all about that density altitude. Wind cues. It's got reticle holdover worksheet for BDC-based reticles. and of course it's made in the USA. So kind of interesting. Got the link in the show notes to go to Brownells and pick that up for a little bit lower price, and then that gives us some of that affiliate love, which we do appreciate. So that was a quick one.
Yep.
So now we're going to go into the review, and I'm finally reviewing the AK Zukov S stock. I know that I'm a little late to the party as far as there's lots of other reviewers have gotten to this stock, but I wanted to kind of really get full use out of it. And it's a folding polymer stock, so you gotta fold it lots of times to make sure that it's gonna hold up and not degrade at all. So I'm very impressed with it. So basically, this came out this year. It was kind of debuted right around SHOT Show. Of course, everyone got their grubby little mitts on it at SHOT Show 2015. Everyone, all the AK owners seem to be, or most of them, are pretty happy with the fact that Magpul is putting out some quality products for the AK pattern rifle. Obviously, they've been coming out with AR-15 stuff for quite a few years, and all of it's really good. In fact, it's not just because I'm a fanboy. I'm being unbiased and objective here, but I think their products kind of set a standard in the industry as far as quality goes. Not to put down on other companies, but when you compare polymer magazines, polymer handguards, and polymer stocks, who else puts out a product that's really better than Magpul? You might have your preferences with the aesthetics of the looks and whatnot. You might get something else so you don't feel like you're being mainstream like everyone else. But regardless, Magpul puts out great stuff. So now that they've entered the AK market, they came out with the AK MOE grip for the AK-47. A lot of people like that. In fact, I've got that installed on my rifle right now. So this is actually the Plus. So it's got that nice rubberized exterior to it. Gives it a little bit more grippy texture to it. So then they came out with the AK PMags, which everyone's really enjoyed. They were working on those, getting all the, it was all polymer before. A lot of people wanted that metal reinforcement for when you rock and lock them into the receiver. So they're still in the process of getting those out. I haven't really seen them in stock anywhere yet. So basically they got the magazine and the pistol grip. So then they hit the market with the handguard system and the stock system. And so there's kind of two tiers. So you've got the AK MOE, so that's Magpul Original Equipment is what MOE stands for. And so that was basically a less expensive and less featured system. So unlike this folding stock that's amazing, and I'm going to tell you all about that, the other stock is just fixed and is a little bit more skeletonized. And the handguard, this is a Zukov handguard, so it obviously comes out much longer, of like more of a rifle length. The AK, AKM, MOE handguard is a direct replacement from existing handguards. So if you got that handguard retention cap on there, it all works with that. So this is the Zukov system, which is the second tier that they offer, and these products are actually priced a little bit higher, but they're more sought after because of their functionality. So I'm going to cover the stock today, and then like next week, I think I'll get into the handguard. They definitely look great together, don't you think? Dead sexy. So
Yeah, definitely.
The folding stock, it has, its main function is the folding capability. So it folds over to the right hand side of the receiver, so that if you've got a AK that's got a side mounted a side mount for you to put the kind of dog leg that hovers over the top of the dust cover so you can use your optics, but you've got a little channel for you to use your iron sights. So it does not fold over to the left side in case you have an AK that has that. It folds over to the right. And how you fold it, there's a button on the left side that you can easily get with your thumb. You just push that down, and then you can bend it over, and it kind of has a nice little ball detent So when it folds over to the side, it's kind of nice and steady. I can't shake it loose. Of course, they can be deployed very easily by just pulling it out. There's no kind of buttons or switches or latches I have to hit in order to deploy it fully, which is really nice because that means you can be deployed very efficiently, very fast. So yeah, very quick. The other feature, obviously, is that it is adjustable for length of pull. This is actually my only negative of the review, is that the length of pull adjustment is still stubborn after having it for several weeks and really working on it. There's a lot of friction. So basically, this is kind of shaped like a boot. You'd grab the toe of the boot with your hand, and with your trigger finger, your finger falls on this latch. When you squeeze this latch, it's kind of got a pivot system, so it kind of unlatches, and then you would pull it. So then your length of pull adjusts. It's actually very difficult to do right out of the box. And it has loosened up quite a bit, but it's still a little bit more challenging. But you do have that length of pull adjustment in case you've got longer arms. And then, of course, if you've got shorter arms, you don't need to worry about that at all. So it's got 5 positions of adjustment there. It fits most stamped receiver AK-47s, AKMs, and AK-74 pattern rifles that use a fixed stock and a single tang trunnion. So this was a Romanian Wasser 10, so it fit on there just fine. I think these are kind of more of the more common rifles because they're so affordable. If you've got a milled receiver, you're kind of hosed. I'm not sure if they're going to be addressing the milled receiver owners out there, but I know these are kind of only for stamped right now. And how it fits all these different receivers, I mean, you can imagine that a Turkish AK and a Romanian AK and a Polish AK and a Russian Kalashnikov AK, they've all got slight differences and tolerances for that rear opening with the receiver and that trunnion. How it's able to fit all of those without them coming out with like different variants of the stock for each one of those. Obviously, even one Romanian to another Romanian would still have different tolerances. So how they did this was kind of cool. There's a unique wedge block that when you're installing it, it basically tightens up in this wedge. It pulls a wedge along a bolt, and then it basically takes up any tolerances and expands kind of in that receiver. So you get a really tight, firm like holding in there. And of course, you still use the screw going down from that tang to really hold it in there. But so installing it was pretty easy. There's lots of videos out there showing you how to install it. Part of the process of installing it is you, of course, have the stock folded open so that you can access the screw from the inside. Even though when it's folded, all this is exposed, there's nothing really loose that's going to get damaged at all. It does have a stainless steel pin in here for the hinge. And something that's interesting is that the hinge actually is designed to compensate with wear. So over the years, as you're opening it and closing it, and it's starting to get wear, the way it's designed, it's designed to compensate for that. So you should not start to encounter any slop with this after rugged use or long periods of use. So it's kind of got like extra longevity for that design. The butt pad is different than the standard MOE butt pads. It's got this kind of it's got these serrated parts right here at the bottom. It's kind of an angled toe, and it's got a little serrations there. So that's really nice that it's not just flat, because if you shoulder it and you've got some gear on, kind of helps from snagging in that gear. It kind of gives you a nice comfortable pocket in your shoulder without it being a really flat surface with no kind of angle to it. They did actually release new butt pads that are compatible with this. So this is the same recoil pad as the MOE SL line. So there was the MOE stocks and handguards, and now they got the MOE SL, which I guess stands for slimline. So there's like the new versions, and those slimline stocks have the same butt pad design. So the new MOE SL enhanced rubber butt pad is compatible with this stock as well as the other stocks. So it's got a thicker vented design for better comfort and approximately half an inch additional length of pull. So if you do want a bigger length, a little bit thicker butt pad, that's available already for you. So then the biggest question I had when I first saw this stock come out is, okay, it folds over to the right side of the receiver. Well, that's where the charging handle and the safety are. What kind of operation are we looking at? When you have this folded over, is it going to be able to fire folded? So it does fire folded. You're able to manipulate the charging handle, and obviously it reciprocates when firing, and it's going to clear the stock. It's going to differ for most rifles, just how when you install this into the trunnion, how it lines up with the charging handle. You can see here on mine, just barely clears it. So I do have clearance there. So yes, you can fire this from the folded position, which a lot of people would like to do. Where my hand goes when I wrap around the pistol grip, it is kind of wedged in between the receiver and the stock. So I can't access the trigger, but right on the top of my index finger knuckle and right on like the top of my hand, it is kind of wedged underneath that stock. It's not really comfortable. So it's something I can do in a pinch if I have to, but it's not something super comfortable that I'm going to do on purpose because it looks cool and it feels good. So obviously, one thing I do need to mention is that there's kind of a little caveat to that. So this is the stock as it comes, how it looks. This is a cheek riser. So Magpul makes these cheek risers that fit on MOE stocks and CTR stocks. Well, this will fit on the Zukov stock. However, you put this on there, it raises your cheek. That's exactly where the charging handle is going when you have this folded. So if you want to use a cheek weld, you can't fire it folded. So you got to make a compromise. Do you need a higher cheek weld, or do you need to be able to operate the charging handle and fire when the stock's folded? You can't do both, unfortunately. This is a 1/2 inch riser. They do make a smaller one, and I'm not sure if you encounter the same issues with clearance, but it's going to differ depending on how your rifle is and when you fold the stock, where it lands in line with your receiver. So I can pull my charging handle back, and it definitely hits my riser here, and I really don't see any kind of additional material you can add to the top of the stock and still have clearance here. So I think it's just not possible, and that's kind of unfortunate. I kind of wish that there was a way around that, but I just don't see it. So although it looks really cool with that cheek weld on there, it's not really necessary depending on your optic, especially if you have a low mounted red dot. You don't really need it at all. You just kind of take a different cheek weld position, so you have your chin a little bit higher up on the stock as opposed to lower. So yeah, the claim to fame, the Zukov S stock is a no compromise folding stock for the modern AK. Target market is obviously AK variant owners, and then I'm going to go ahead and say Wolverines, if you're a fan of the movie Red Dawn. Features and benefits, made in the USA, always a good thing. Mounts to stamped receivers with a fixed stock single trunnion, 5-position length of pull adjustability, consistent cheek weld in all positions, compatibility with cheek risers. Adjustment lever is unobtrusive and anti-snag. So they're talking about right here. It is actually very low profile. You don't have a big lever like an AR stock that you could snag or get in the way of anything. High strength wear compensating lock mechanism allows for the stock to fold to the right, and it's got a solid steel hinge pin. Positive detents in the stowed position prevents movement while still allowing the stock to be instantly deployed. The weapon may be charged and fired while the stock is folded without cheek risers, obviously. Rubber butt pad, gives you some anti-slip surface and increased impact protection. If you're still recoil sensitive, get that thicker pad. Rollover on the toe allows for easier shoulder transitions and better fit when using body armor. Sling mounts. The great thing about this stock is that it's very flexible with how you like to mount your sling. So on the left side, just forward of the folding button, you've got a QD stud right here. Awesome for the Magpul MS3 or MS4 slings with QD. Just goes right there. If you want to have a single point sling, that's exactly where you want it, just like an M4 or an AR-15. So this finally gives AK owners an easy ability to use a single point sling system, which is a little bit more, if you wanted that previously, it was a little bit more overly complicated and kind of clumsy to get that going on your stock. So, and now you have that. Also in the rear, you've got ambidextrous ports on the left and right hand side where you can buy a QD socket and install that on either side if you want your QD to go all the way in the back. Also on the top of the toe, you've got 1.25 inch sling loop if you just want to loop your sling right through that. So what are the other aesthetic options and finishes available? Well, Magpul's got black, stealth gray, flat dark earth, ranger green, and a new color that they just kind of came out with for the AK pattern products. And it's called plum. It's like a really dark violet. That's something that's a little bit more traditional with some AK furniture in the past that was that color. So those aren't really available right now. I haven't seen them in stock anywhere. I've only seen black. I've seen some guys with flat dark earth, and I'm not sure if that was Duracoat or whether they were able to finally get some flat dark earth colored products in. What others are saying, I've got one review from Brownells saying that I bought the stock from Brownells to replace the stock on my 84S Chinese AK clone in 5.56 caliber. Right out of the box, I was impressed by the quality and features of the stock, and it displayed the quality that I have come to expect from Magpul products. However, if you're buying this to install on a Chinese rifle such as a Mac 90 or a Type 56S, be aware that some modification of the stock will be necessary, as the Chinese AK rifles have a longer tang and different bolt spacing than European comblock rifles. 10 minutes with a Dremel and a needle file, and I was in business. The stock locks up tight, and the spring detent that keeps it in the folded position is a nice touch. Overall, it is the best option for folding stock that I have found for the AK, as it does not require modification to your weapon. Got another review from Amazon. Actually, no, that's wrong. There's lots of reviews already on YouTube for this stock. Also, I'm planning to put up a YouTube video also for just my take on it. If you want a really like hardcore, like not just like slapping it on there and talking about it, you want to see somebody abuse the stock. There's I think it's in the AK 7447 Operators Union. They've got a video of the guy like dropping it like on the ground purposely hard, trying to break the stock, seeing what punishment it can take. And he did fold the stock and then run it over with his truck, and that did break the hinge. So that seemed to be the only breaking point he could find, was just running it over with the vehicle when the stock was folded. As much as we joke about testing things by dragging them behind a vehicle, that's something that's not a lot of folding stocks are going to hold up to that. Like probably none of them will hold up to that kind of abuse. So, they did run over it, fully deployed, unfolded, and it was just fine. So that hinge is a weak point when you have it, collapsed along the side. So you can't expect it to be, truly indestructible. But that's such a highly unlikely and hypothetical scenario that, the weapon needs to be on you and not folded on the ground in front of tires. But that was a really interesting review and a form of testing. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because I already saw what happened. So there's no need for me to do that to mine. The price point for these, the MSRP is $99.95. Brownells does have them for $1 less, or I'm sorry, $5 less. So they got it for $94.95. So if you need it now, I'd recommend Brownells using the affiliate link I have in the show notes, or go to any local gun shop. I picked mine up at I think Brownells or DSG Arms. I think DSG Arms because they had it first. And then I picked up my handguard and stuff locally, but Brownells definitely has all that. So my overall rating, I'm giving it an 8.5 as great. That's kind of rounding down from maybe 8.8 or 8.9. I think that's really a great stock. I just think that the not being able to have a cheek well or a cheek riser and operate it folded are kind of a bummer, and keep it from being like definitely a 10. But I think it also kind of detracts it from being a 9.0 as amazing also. So I'm giving it a super high 8.5 rating. It's really a great stock for your AK rifle. I think it's one of the better stocks that are out there. I think it looks really modern. It doesn't kind of follow the same scheme as the other stocks of the market. Typically, they all almost model the AR-15 style. So I think this is really nice because it's a style of its own. You're not going to see really an AR-15 with a stock that looks like this. And to me, that's like the biggest appeal. To me, this is almost looking like something that IWI would put out, the makers of the Tavor or, the Scar from FN. It's definitely, this is transforming just any AK into something that looks. Whoa, buddy. You okay?
Yeah, sorry about that. I bumped my door and it made a noise.
Oh, it's like you didn't fall over, did you?
Nope.
Cool. So anyway, that's my review on that.
Yeah, that makes me kind of jealous. Makes me want to go buy an AK now, Ryan.
Yeah, if I did not have an AK after looking at these products, I probably would have gone out and got one. Like, I'm almost tempted to get another one because they're awesome.
Yeah. So when are you gonna paint it? You can't just have it black.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking I will keep it black. This is the original. Well, I guess it's not the original black rifle. I think that goes to the Galil, but I mean, it's bad to the bone, dude. Like,
yeah, it's pretty
I'm just gonna keep it black.
Alrighty.
So yeah, and then the Zukov handguard, I'll cover that probably on the next episode. I just installed that today, and it was pretty simple.
Can't wait to hear you talk about that because it adds a whole ton of functionality and looks to it. So
yeah, I mean, I really wish that they had all the colors available right off the gate, because of course I would have got it in a different color. I would have got it in plum or flat dark earth, but I got impatient and I wanted it like as soon as they released it, so I wasn't gonna wait for that. And that's kind of what I'm afraid of, because I've got the Hunter 700 stock like pre-ordered in a color, and I'm hoping that with all these delays that they have like enough of all the colors available to fulfill all the pre-orders and put out there for release day, whenever that is.
Yeah, I think that plum would be really cool. Just something different,
Yeah. So that was the main topic. Going on to the tech gadget or app, I actually found something for the Ruger LC9S owners out there. This is a cool laser light system from Crimson Trace. They call it the Crimson Exchange technology. So they've got a light and they've got a laser. These are two separate units. They attach to your Ruger LC9S via the trigger guard. The price is the same for either. You can get the laser for $229, or you can get the light for $229. So they're calling the next evolution in laser sight and light systems the CXT, which is the abbreviation for Crimson Trace Exchange Technology, gives users the ability to quickly exchange between red laser and white light modules with the simple push of a pin while maintaining seamless integration with the firearm. So specifications for the light: it's a white light LED output of 100 lumens. It uses one CR2 lithium battery with a 2-hour runtime. It's front located. It's got a front located integrated momentary pressure pad for activation. And obviously, they've got a Crimson Trace 3-year warranty on these. They are available through the shopruger.com. The laser specifications: it's got a beam intensity of 5 megawatts or milliwatts. What's MW?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I'm just gonna assume it's megawatts. That's the peak. It's a class 3R laser, dot size of approximately half an inch diameter at 50 feet. It uses a 1/3N 3-volt lithium battery or 2.357 silver oxide batteries with over 4 hours of illumination, so 4-hour runtime. It's also got that front-located momentary pressure pad for activation. The sight is preset at the factory to 50 feet, but it is fully adjustable for wind and elevation to get that zeroed whatever you'd like. So basically, instead of having a bulky light and laser system, you can get one of these and then later down the road get the other one and just swap them out on the gun as you see fit. But it's still really tight to the frame. Obviously, that is a slimmer pistol, being single stack, and this really complements the profile of the gun. And you should be able to have no problem getting holsters for it, as they're not super bulky. They don't stick out the sides any wider than the gun itself.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it complements profile. When I was first looking into it, looking at it, I thought it was somehow molded into the frame. That's how kind of sleek, I guess, it is.
Yeah.
And you mentioned holsters. I think Crimson Trace is pretty good about getting out dummy units to holster makers to make holsters for it. So should see stuff pretty soon, I would imagine.
Yep, I think so. So
if not, with these custom people, you could always send them, if you're willing to, send them your light or laser and have them molded around it and just send it back with the holster. Yep.
Yeah, so I got the link to shopruger.com in order for you to get those two things.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like the trigger guard and the switch mechanism stay on the gun, but you can swap the laser or light module off of that, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure why they would do that, being that the switch is probably the cheaper part versus the module. So it seems like if you want a light, you'd buy a light, and if you want a laser, you'd buy a laser. So it's just an interesting concept.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that it doesn't come in a combo pack where you get the trigger guard mount, and it might have already assembled on there the light, but then you get the laser module included. So say if these are $230 a piece, have for $400, have the combo kit or something like that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know that they offer the, I guess, the replaceable head
separately
as of right now. I'm sure they will eventually, being that they're advertising it that way.
Yep.
Now, one thing, just kind of a thing that's always confused me about Ruger, is they went through I'm not sure how the LC9 is, but I know the LCP has that kind of internal fire control group that's actually the serialized part, kind of like the new SIG 320s and the 250s. But it seems like they almost kind of ignore that fact, because it always seemed to me that it would be pretty interesting for Ruger to partner with Crimson Trace or somebody and have a frame with a laser or light molded into it. Because I know, like Keltec, you can buy one of their P3ATs, and if you have a black one and you want a green, you can buy the frame, and just the little trigger control group chassis slips right into the frame. So I always thought it was interesting, thinking like kind of why Ruger didn't take as much advantage of that system as they could. I don't know if anybody else has had that similar realization, but whenever I had an LCP, you take it apart and you have this little bitty fire control group with the trigger and hammer and all of that, and that's the serialized part. So it seems like the frame could easily be swapped out for different, a laser frame or a light frame or whatever.
I'm not sure. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I'm sure if they thought it was a good idea and thought of it, they would have done it. So I guess maybe I'm probably off base at some point.
Well, as many iterations that they've come out with the LC9, that could very well be something similar in the future. Because seems like they have taken a swing at this pistol in definitely a couple different ways, listening to public feedback on the safety versus and also the
one kind of interesting thing, I guess, to note is on the page with the laser. I guess this thing is available already, and there's a review, and it says this model LG 413 laser guard will not fit the LC9S Pro model firearm. The trigger guard on this gun is too wide for the model CT laser. This information should be displayed on the website. Could save a lot of money for your customer. So I'm not sure what's different about the LC9S Pro versus the LC9S that would not allow this to fit. I don't imagine the trigger guard would be any different shaped.
Well, it sounds like the review like it is different shaped.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So it's kind of interesting. So if you're buying one and for an LC9S Pro, just beware, I guess.
Yep. So we don't have any listener feedback this week. Also want to make sure that we plug that bullpup shoot going on September 19th. It's getting closer. So if you're in the Illinois area and you want to swing by on September 19th, 2015 to Mount Carroll, they're having a bullpup shoot. The website for that is just bullpupshoot.com. And you'll be able to meet some FRN folks down there, probably Jake, maybe Hank. I'm not sure who else is going to be making it, but who doesn't want to go shoot some awesome bullpups, man? I mean, Tavors, Ogs, you name it. They're awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I could go, but it's a little far for me.
Yeah. One of these days, hopefully someone can pay for a flight and I can go on to Illinois, because there's a lot of good folks over there I got to go see.
Yep.
So wrapping up, send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or myself, cross@firearmsradio.tv. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. And that I should have a video up for that Zukov review probably by the end of the week, and me saying that on the air pretty much forces me to do it and get it on there. So stay tuned for that. Well, thanks for joining me this week, TJ. I really appreciate it.
Yep, it was good being back. I know, like I said, it's been a few weeks. I'm sorry to have missed out a few episodes, but I was actually sick last week, and I don't think sniffling and coughing and congestion would have made a good podcast. So I decided to sit that one out.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yep, thank you.
And yeah, so everyone have a great week. Shoot safe, and I will catch you on the next episode.
All right, see you later, Ryan.
Yep, see you.